Okay, hello and welcome anyone and everyone that's out there. Or if you're watching this on video on demand or on YouTube, whatever, thank you for tuning in at a later date to check out what's going on. This is Hinton's Hobbies. I am Hinton. If anyone is out there, if you can tell me volume levels, are they okay? Music too loud? I'm actually going to turn this down just a touch because it sounds loud to me. Okay. Hopefully that's good, and hopefully you can hear me. Hold on here, let me do a quick check. Let's see here. Should be live. Well, according to my other display, I'm not live yet. What is going on? Can you hear me? Is there anyone out there? Well, what's going on? Morning, Eldon. Doing okay. Can you hear me at all? Okay. That is so weird. What I am seeing on my other display isn't showing me. It just says starting soon. Huh. Okay. Guess I can't monitor things. But anyway, okay, well, continuing on. So yes, okay. So it's been a while. I am back to streaming, finally. Finally got things together. What I'm doing today is a bit of a mystery to me as well. We're over here at the big bench. I do have my big project bench here. And then if I switch over here really quick, you should see my painting area where I'll be painting miniatures and things like that. But for today, we're going to start out over here. I've got some plaster blocks. I know that's probably really noisy. Sorry. I'm thinking about building like a tower that I want to put on my bookcase, on my bookshelves. I'm not really sure what I want to build though. That's the part of the conundrum that I've been wrestling with is what do I want to build? I don't need anything like big or fancy, but I do want to get an idea of a layout of what I might want to build. Oops, bumped the camera. Gotta be careful with that. Here's some clicking here. So get that back to the top. Okay. So yeah. Let's see here. I want to build a little tower. Let's scoot this over a little bit there. A bit of a glare. This is just a piece of plywood. A quick piece of plywood, thin plywood, and it has contact paper on it, clear contact paper on it. Because when I'm working with these plaster blocks, and you glue them together, I have glued them to the work surface. And I've had to basically scrape them off of the work surface. So I've learned that doing it like this, it's a little bit easier to pry them up if I happen to glue them down. I have some pieces here that I might want to incorporate. So when I was doing some cleaning and organizing, I found some pieces that I had glued together for some other project. So I'm thinking, like, this is a doorway. So I think I want to use this to make like a doorway, an archway going into a tower. So I'm going to glue those together really quick. Yep, I am pretty much just winging it today. So let me get that in. I need to get better light source on me here. Otherwise, it's a little bit shadowy. Let me move my light just a little bit. If I can. Oh, it's so much fun figuring out technical stuff on the fly. So how are you today, Eldon? You all ready for your stream later on? You gonna glue in there or what? Okay. So yeah, I've been absent from the stream for a while. I know that. Very chilled. Yes, just pottering. Looking forward to streaming in a couple hours. Yep. And if things go according to plan, which will hopefully will happen, I will probably be rating your stream when I'm done here. There we go. Let's just set that off to the side for now. Let that glue set for a little bit. Nope, doesn't want to sit. Wants to fall down. That's fine, I can fix that. Oh, I can fix your little red wagon. So yeah, I've been off stream for a while. Part of the reason that I stopped streaming was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And so to back up a little bit, I have some mental health issues. I think a lot of us do these days. Not going to get into details or anything like that, but it's just, you know, we all have things that we deal with and struggle with, and for me, there were things going on, a lot of things going on. So it was very difficult for me to got my first 2 quotes in for tomorrow and Tuesday. Oh, for your handyman stuff, your self-employment, yes? Is that what you're referring to? Yes, for those that don't know, Eldon is also a streamer, but also he's going to be self-employed soon. I'm sure he'll talk about it on his stream. I think I can do the shout-out command. Oh, very cool. Hey, what's this stream? This is... Let's see here. I hope I do this right. If not, well... Yeah, I guess it didn't. As a mod, Eldon, you should be able to do that as well. If you want to give yourself a shout out, if it works. I thought I fixed that. Oh, so many problems. And that's part of the thing I was running into, is trying to deal with setting up things for streaming and not really having time for it with everything else that was going on with work and personal life and things like that. It's 1 inch. That's 3 inch. I think I want a 4 inch wide tower. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I go out here, that's 6 inches long. Yeah, let's do that. And that's where my door's going to be, my archway. Yeah. CloudBot, I think, whatever it is that comes with it. Yeah, I'll probably have to go in and check the settings again. There's probably something going on. So, I'm not sure. All those little technical issues and glitches that we got to fix and deal with. Yep. Anyway, as I was saying, the streaming, what I was running into was feeling overwhelmed. Part of the problem was that when I work on things, I can only work on 1 or 2 things at a time. Otherwise, I get feeling overwhelmed, like massively overwhelmed. It takes a while to iron stuff out. Yes, it does. Especially when you're not familiar with what's going on and things like that. So it's kind of a new thing to me. So I'll get there. I'm sure I'll get there. I did finally get a standalone microphone so that I'm not running through the cameras. I do have 2 cameras, as I pointed out earlier. But yeah, I was starting out painting miniatures. And that's fine. I mean, I love painting miniatures. I'll probably be painting one here in just a little bit while I get this stuff glued together and then let the glue set and cure. But working on that, I have to limit how many projects I work on at a time. Otherwise, I get overwhelmed. And then I don't do anything. I go into like a vapor lock kind of situation, which isn't good. I mean, because then I don't do anything. I need my ruler. Hold on a second. Be right back. Just making sure that they're lined up properly. But yeah, painting the miniatures, and then I didn't want to do anything else. So I wasn't working on anything in between streams because I didn't want to work on the miniatures outside of the stream, because I paint a few things and then come back on stream and it's like, oh, that thing's completely done. We didn't see you do anything with it. So it was basically, I wasn't doing anything hobby related outside of the stream, which was bothering me. I wanted to be able to do things. I wanted to work on things. I'm just going to slide those back and I'll do another set here. For that, I'm going to need some 1/2-inch blocks. So it'll be that, and that. And that will create the wall of the tower. So it'll look like that, which is what we're going for. Cool. So yeah, I was finding the streaming to be kind of taking over my hobby, and I didn't want that. So that's why I actually stopped. And I was thinking about just stopping completely. But talking to a couple different people and listening to a few other things made me realize I do enjoy sharing the hobby. I'm not very good at it, obviously, but I try. And if it inspires people to do things, then all the more, all the better. I get that. I won't paint anything that I've started on stream at other times. Yeah, see, and that's where I was running into, well, I don't want to work on these off stream, but at the same time, I don't want to do too many things at once because then I won't do anything. And so I was getting very frustrated with it. And so that's why I stopped streaming, and then I started working on a few projects, got a few things done. one thing I can show you is I commented on Eldon's stream yesterday. I think it was yesterday? No, last week. I don't remember when. Anyway, I did comment. I was making dice jails. So it's just a little jail. This is the base. It's going to sit down on here. Brick. I need better lighting for this area. I don't know if you can see that. But yeah, it's brick. The concrete top, the bars. And then, yeah, you just put your naughty dice inside and they can think about what they've done when they're rolling ones and trying to get you killed, as our party almost did Friday night. All of us almost died, but that's what happens when you fight a half dragon and you're not ready for it. Anyway, but yeah, that's another project I work on. I painted a few miniatures. One of our party has a miniature for their character that they've asked me to paint, so I'm going to work on that. So that's one thing I was contemplating is, okay, how do I do this? How do I stream without basically locking everything down so that it's only on stream? And I got to think about it. It's like, well, I could stream whenever I work on my hobby stuff. There's nothing that says it has to be only... Thanks, yeah. I kind of like it too. It's just, it's a nice little jail. But thinking of how I can work on stuff on stream, because like I have a schedule of Sunday morning 11 to 1. Thinking about doing Wednesday nights. I'm going to try that this week and see how it goes. I get off work at 5. I live really, really close to home, so I'm home by 5:05. And then you are falling over. Why are you falling over? By the time I get home, get out of my work clothes and get changed, get something to eat. It'll be right about 5:30, so it should be good. Should be okay. So we'll try that, see how that goes. But I was thinking I could stream at other times. I could, I tend to get up early in the morning for various reasons. So I would be streaming at 4:30 in the morning my time, which is early. But then there's times when I'm doing that, I'm only working on things for an hour, maybe less. And can you really stream for less than an hour? Is that really helping anything at all? And I did some reading up on this, and Twitch advises that your streams last 2 hours. That's a good average. Longer is fine. They recommend not going less than an hour, which, okay, that's all well and good, but I don't always want to stream for an hour. So I follow other people who stream when they feel like it and it works for them. Yeah, exactly. Just stream when it works for them. Why not less than an hour? If that's what you're asking, Twitch says that's not a good way to grow your stream, because the first 30 minutes can be working out technical issues and people realizing that you're streaming, getting the notification and all that, and then getting on there. And so by the time they find your stream, if it's 30 minutes long, you're done. You're gone. So, sorry, making noise. It makes a kind of sense. I got a 3/4 inch block in my 1/2 inch block box. That's not cool. But it does make a kind of sense. But, again, there's nothing that says that you can't. There aren't any rules that say you must stream for an hour or 2 hours or whatever. Because during the week, in the morning when I'm working on things, it might be 30, 45 minutes, maybe an hour, and then I'm going to be getting ready for work. So that is something that I'm contemplating doing. Is just streaming when I feel like it. When I'm going to work on something, I'm going to jump on stream. Yeah, it depends if you want to get lots of followers. There's a formula, but to be honest, I'd rather watch a shorter stream if the streamer enjoys what they do. Exactly. Exactly. I don't mind doing a shorter stream because, like a lot of these, you can just publish out to YouTube, or there can be video on demand, the Twitch video on demand. So people are like, "Oh, you streamed this morning for 30 minutes. Let me jump in here and see what you did," and that seems to appeal to me. There might be times where I go ahead and do things off stream, just because, I mean, things like this. It's we're watching glue dry. I mean, literally watching glue dry. That's all we're doing here is assembling and gluing and drying. You need to stop falling over, my friend. Let's see if we can stand you up here. There we go. Yeah, my little archway here. It's getting to the point where it's holding. The glue will set within a few minutes, but to cure it takes several hours. Yeah, and that's one thing I talked about with the stream is I'm not looking to grow a business. I'm not looking to, promote anything or sell anything. That's not what I do. So in regards to helping people grow a business, things like that, yeah, that's fantastic if that's what they're doing. But, makers, crafters, artists like me, 4 a.m. your time is about 10 a.m. here. I'm normally at work, but at the moment I work on a computer home, so I can be around. So yeah, see? And like I said, there's the whole YouTube and video on demand aspect that you can utilize. You can always catch it later. And honestly, I mean, like there's some channels that I follow on YouTube where they'll do live streams, and I'll look at like the time and they're like 2.5 hours long. Well, yeah, I might watch a little bit of it, but to be honest, not all that much. And for some reason, my monitoring tablet keeps switching to a different live stream. Oh, Twitch, why are you so weird? Guess I'll just have to rely on my Streamlabs OBS for now. But yeah, there might be times where I work on things off stream, just especially like for example these blocks. And these are cast in plaster. It's actually there's 2 types of plaster that I use. Dye stone, which is a dental plaster. So it's really tough. Excuse me, I got a cough here for a second. Oh, excuse me. Dye stone, which is a dental plaster, so it's really tough. And then Merlin's Magic, which is called flow stone. So it can be mixed a little bit thinner. I actually don't want to do that. I want to do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I made an extra one there. Oops. That one's crooked. But like casting these blocks, it is, you mix up the plaster, you pour it in the mold, you let it sit, you scrape it flat, and it sits for like 20, 30 minutes until it's hardened up a bit. Pop them out, let them sit and dry, and cure for about 2 days. Not exactly riveting streaming. So that's something I would do off stream. I might do it sometime on stream just to show what the process is like, but that's really nothing exciting. Okay, I'm getting some walls going here. I have an idea of what I want it to look like, but what I see in my head and what I actually produce are often very different things. And yeah, I'm just using Eileen's tacky glue. Good stuff for this type of work. whether you're using plaster or foam. Even balsa wood is pretty good, although I tend to use wood glue for that because it is wood. But yeah, it's going to be, then I'm back to streaming. It's going to be more than just painting miniatures. It's going to be building things, making things, painting things other than miniatures. So yeah, it's going to be quite the experience. Okay, I've got a few base pieces here. How I want them to be, how I want them to look. I'm terrible about designing things ahead of time. Sounds like you have a plan sort of in your head. A bit, yeah. Like I said, I think the approach of if I just sit down at the project bench or the paint bench and I start working on something, just start up the stream and go for it. And, I've got the background music going, which is royalty-free music, so I'm not violating any copyrights or license laws or anything like that. Which is very cool. I can listen to some music that I kind of like, very calming and relaxing, and work on the stream. Oh yeah, I was saying I'm terrible about designing things, so I just started laying out some basic shapes for building a tower. I might want to throw in some decorative pieces. Can't hear the music? Oh. Let's turn it up here. Let me know if that's any better. It's kind of quiet music. It's very soft, chill music. What do we got playing right now? Let's see here. Pop that all the way up. Can you hear it now? Can you hear the music now? Here, I'm going to grab this really quick. Closer here, because I'm going to finish painting this really quick. Hopefully that gets better. So yeah, we're going to let that sit and dry for a little while. No, it doesn't appear to be there at all. Interesting, because I can hear it. Let's see here. Okay. Time to do some troubleshooting. Really quick. One moment, please. Okay. Let's switch to the painting bench. And let's see. Sorry, checking something here. Something very quiet in the background. Can't hear it now. Okay, good. Apparently, I had it low for me because it's quite loud for me, but you can hear it, so that's what's important. So, okay, let me swing this light back over here. So yeah, this is the dice gel I was working on. I still need to paint just underneath the edge here, so I'm going to finish that up really quick. Where's my little brush? Here we go. And if the music gets too loud, please let me know. Or if you can't hear me, please let me know. Because I'm in a different spot now. I'm still relatively the same distance from the microphone, but... So this is the concrete from Woodland Scenics. I'm just painting this stone here. Try not to get any on the brick. Your fine music is still quiet but is audible through headphones. Interesting. I've got that cranked up as loud as it will go. Volume set to 100% and Streamlabs is up to 100%. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Let me just check something here really quick. Yep, that's all the way up. Oh, maybe I've got the wrong one. Haha. Does that improve it at all? Better can hear through my speakers now. Okay, good. Yep, there are actually apparently 2 places that I needed to check. Oh, Twitch, you so crazy. Which is kind of, excuse me, kind of funny because growing up in my later teen years, I was actually friends with a gal that we called Twitch, and she was twitchy. She was crazy. Well, ish. I had that with my mic. Yeah, it's so many settings, so many things to take care of, because you want to make sure that you can be heard but not drowned out by the music, but you want to be able to hear the music. Because I am a person, I cannot work in silence. I just can't. I've tried, and it's just, I don't know. I need some kind of background noise. Which, not, don't take this wrong, Eldon. Listening to your stream, it's wonderful background noise. It's not noise, exactly, but I enjoy having your stream on while I'm working on things, which is why I'm typically not always very chatty. It's because I'm doing things. Like yesterday, I was working on that. Working on this dice gel. So... Sorry, I'm concentrating on trying to keep this from getting on the brick. It's a very thin line. But yeah, speaking of people that do their hobby as a business. And I'm sitting there kind of thinking about it. A few weeks ago here in Nebraska, we had a convention, a comic convention. They call it Comic Fest. Um, it started out a few years ago. This is their fifth convention. They, of course, they missed because of COVID and things like that. I think it actually started in like 2017. But yeah, we had the Comic Fest, and I love going to conventions like that because you can meet people, artists, authors, makers, crafters, things like that, that aren't a big business. They're not, granted, you have the bigger companies there, people trying to, they're sort of selling things, promoting products and whatnot. But you do have the independent, I guess you should say, makers and crafters and artists and things like that. And I love going to their booths and talking to them because they want to share their hobby. They want to share what they do. And just spending that time talking to them. I try not to take up too much of their time because they are trying to sell things. But it's so much fun to watch them talk about things and their face light up and their passion comes through. And those are the people that I tend to always buy something from. There are some people, I'm not, slagging off on anybody or anything. I'm not trying to say anything negative about people. But some people are like, and maybe they're just tired. They've been there, all weekend. They're like, oh, I just want to go home. I've been at this booth for hours. I'm tired. I need something to eat. So they're just like, yeah, I'm here, whatever. But the people that I talk to, that they really light up. They're very passionate about. I always want to buy something from them if it's stuff that I'm interested in. There's some things that I'm just not interested in that don't really appeal to me. But yeah, I got to go to that and meet quite a few interesting artists and authors. Including one. He's an author. He's out of Colorado. This is his first time here at Comic Fest. Todd Fanistock. I'm saying his last name wrong. Here, hold on 1 second. I'll be right back. I had to go over to my bookcase. Here, Fanistock. I think it's Fanistock. I didn't get his name. He didn't like introduce himself. I'm Todd Fanistock or whatever. This is a book called Wild Mane. It's book one of the Threadweaver series. I have finished this book. It is very, very good. Talking to him, he was very, very passionate about this series. Kind of find out this is like something he started doing when he was much, much younger. Worked on it for years and years and years. And, of course, he signed it, personalized it and everything. I bought the whole series. It's 4 books. I bought all 4 books just because of how passionate he was about it, how he was talking about it. He does have others that he has written. He has won awards, and it's a really good book. I really like it. It was one that was difficult for me to put down reading. So yeah, going to a place like that. And it's interesting because I was talking to a couple of artists that I bought stuff from. That's not their business. That's just a hobby, and they do the convention stuff like that as a kind of a side thing. I mean, it's a business, but not a business, where they're, they got a brick and mortar store, or anything like that. They come to the conventions to sell stuff, and the rest of the time they're working on painting something. Like one lady I was talking to, she actually has 2 jobs, and she does the art when she has time. And she's a wonderful artist. I loved her work. I bought one of her paintings. It's up on my wall. Oops, sorry, I hit the camera. Up on my wall over there. I could run and grab it, but some other time. Maybe next stream I'll take it down off the wall and show you. Funny story about that artist, though. Her name's Hannah something. As a preface to that story, you have to realize that my daughter, Anna Jane, is an introvert, big time. She is socially awkward. She's very shy. So her, talking to people that she doesn't know is a bit of a hurdle for her. She, not necessarily, stays in her shell or anything. She's just kind of shy and socially awkward, as some people tend to be. So we were at this convention and we're walking along, and Jane points out to me, she says, "Hey, look over there, there's some paintings that are like Bob Ross." And we look and, oh yeah, they are like Bob Ross paintings. They're really nice. So we go to that booth and we're checking them out. Come to find out that this lady that's working the booth, she's in like full costume too, like a wood elf or something. Costume, makeup, everything, and total cosplay, which is awesome. So we're sitting there talking to her, and I asked her, I said, "Are these your paintings?" She says, "No, my boyfriend does those. His mom is a certified Bob Ross instructor." So that explains why they look so much like Bob Ross paintings, is because he learned from a certified Bob Ross instructor who probably basically learned from Bob Ross at some point, or at least a certified Bob Ross instructor taught them to be a certified instructor. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry for a little while. So anyway, she says, no, she says, "I do these paintings over here," and she points out some of her stuff. And it's like, wow, those are really nice. And I see one that I happen to like. Okay, I'm going to pause the story here for just a second. I'm going to move my palette here and get my wet palette open. Got a drink of my tea here. Hold on. This is, I had another miniature that I wanted to work on. I did not have a chance to get it primed, so I needed to pick something else. I have an entire pile of the stuff to paint over here. It's my pile of potential. I would swing the camera around, but I don't know if I can get it back into position. Anyway, I just picked one at random. I thought, yeah, this is one I've printed off. This is a 3D print. I'm trying to remember who this is. I'll try to get it for next stream. I know it's Thryra, the North Woman. So, figured I got her printed out, primed, everything, quite a while ago, actually. So I'm going to start painting her today while I wait for glue to dry on my other project over there. And that's something I'll probably... oh, thank you. It did print out very, very nice. It's a good sculpt, too. So, yeah, the reason the primer looks weird is I had primed it, and then I noticed a few artifacts from printing, support holes and things like that. So I filed them down, filled them in, and things like that, and then re-primed with a different primer, figures, and that's why it just looks weird. But paint will cover a lot of this, so I'm not going to worry about it. So anyway, back to the story. So we're looking at these paintings. I see one that I really, really like. She says it's X amount of money. I'm like, well, I don't have that much cash on me. Do you take cards? And she says, no, I take Venmo. Well, I don't have Venmo. All right, let's go with Yeah, let's go with tan skin. I think would be a good start. So I say I don't have Venmo. However, I know that there's an ATM just up by the entrance. So I'm going to run up there really quick and grab some money. So I tell my daughter, because we're there with her son, my grandson, who is, well, at that time he was 5 months old. So tell her, you just stay here with the little guy. I'll run up there. I'll be right back. So I run up to the ATM, get the money, get back. I am gone 5 minutes, tops. Get back. My daughter and this artist, Hannah, are just getting on like, getting on like a house on fire. They are just chatting away. They have not only liked each other's artist page on Facebook, they have become friends on Facebook. They're just like fast friends. It's like, what the heck? I was gone 5 minutes. How does my daughter, who has trouble saying hello to people, all of a sudden, she's just like best friends with this artist? Like, I wasn't gone that long. Which really kind of speaks to the artistic community at large. Because we all have that passion, and this is where I'm talking about like people being passionate about their work. Stasia is an artist, and she's very passionate. Anna Jane, sorry. Anna Jane is very passionate about her art, and so she likes to share it. Sometimes the chemistry just works. Common passions, exactly. So it's just that commonality we have as artists, and we are all artists, whether we paint miniatures or paint paintings, write books. It's all artistic endeavor, and it's wonderful seeing artists supporting each other like that and becoming friends like that, over that common interest, that common passion. And it helps that, like I said, they're both, I don't want to say traditional painters, but they paint on canvas with acrylics and oils and things like that. So they do have a lot in common. But it's always nice to see that. So yeah, that's where people being passionate about their hobbies, their interests, really appeals to me. Another funny story from that convention. My daughter grew up absolutely in love with a TV show called Dragon Tales. I don't know if any of you know what that is. If you have children of a certain age, or if you are of a certain age, then you will probably recognize that. So they had one of the co-creators of that TV show at the convention. What I didn't know is that individual, his name is Wesley Ure. And a lot of people are probably not going to recognize that name. In fact, I'd be surprised if anyone actually recognizes that name. However, again, if you are of a certain age, and Tux, you might know about this, but I don't know. It's more a U.S. thing than a U.K. thing. He played Will Marshall on The Land of the Lost. So, there was Will and Holly Marshall, and they were both there at the convention. What's her name? I want to say Wendy Coleman. Kathy Coleman. She played Holly Marshall. They were both there, and they had a booth set up, this great big booth set up, for like Land of the Lost memorabilia and stuff like that. But yeah, Wesley, who played Will Marshall, was one of the co-creators of Dragon Tales, which my daughter was a huge, huge fan of, and why still is. I mean, she knows all the theme song by heart and all of the chant or whatever it is to go to Dragonland and all of that jazz. So she was really, really excited about meeting him. So she goes up to the booth, and he's like, "Hi, how's it going?" And we're trying to talk to him a little bit. And Anna Jane sits there and says, "Yeah, I'm a really huge fan of Dragon Tales and everything." And he starts singing the theme song to the show to her, and it's like, holy smokes. And so she's basically just like fangirling, almost like literally swooning, because he's singing the theme to like one of her favorite TV shows of all time, and she's meeting like one of the creators of that. So yeah, she definitely had a almost out of body experience with that. And so I mean, he was really super cool about it. I think it's because a lot of people know him for like Land of the Lost and stuff like that. So they're talking to him about that, and here comes this young lass with child in tow, talking about, yeah, I love Dragon Tales. So he's like, oh hey, I'll sign a picture for you, and we'll get a picture together. And there's a two-headed dragon in the show called Zack and Wheezy. It's like a conjoined dragon brother and sister thing. But he says, yeah, we'll take a picture with Zack and Wheezy on your shoulder. He's got like this stuffed Zack and Wheezy doll. He's like, yeah, we'll do all that and everything. She's just like, oh my gosh, and her mind is just melting over this. So yeah, she had a really, really great experience at the convention. And it was like her first real convention that she'd ever been to. She planned to go to quite a few, but it never quite went through. So I thought that was really, really cool for her that she got to have that experience. Is that skin or hair? I'm going to go with skin. Right down in here. Make sure I'm staying in the camera here. But yeah, looking forward to going next year. That's the nice thing about it. It's like right here in town where I live. I don't have to travel very far for it. I don't have to get like a hotel room or anything. I can just come back home. It's actually not that far from where I live either, where they had it. It was just like down the street. Far enough that I had to drive, but close enough it's only like a 5-minute drive. Now, the miniature I was planning on working on is called the Treasure Room Mimic from Which Song Miniatures. It was a Kickstarter that I backed. And it is pretty much what it sounds like. It is a treasure room. The whole treasure room is a mimic. So, yeah, that'll be fun. Not that I would ever actually, drop it on any of my players, any of the games that I run. He laughed nefariously. They're already paranoid about mimics as it is, even though I've never actually had a mimic in one of my games. But one of the players is also a DM of another campaign, and he has dropped in mimics. And it's like, dude, come on. Ooh, I don't know if you heard that. Drawback of living in an apartment complex is you can have noisy neighbors who like to slam doors sometimes. That's part of the other thing with streaming, at least in the early morning. It is really, really quiet. The brush is starting to fray a little bit. Oh, here, I got some glue on my finger. Still not convinced of the top-down camera setup. It has its points, but not entirely sure. I know I did want to set up the big project bench as a top-down, just because of the size of things. It would be really difficult to set it up. So just a bit of primer didn't quite reach. That's okay though. So what are we thinking of her as a redhead? Blonde is kind of traditional, I know that, but so is red in a way. I don't know. Could go ahead. Top down works for me, but I tried other angles for someone, so she top down. Yeah, that's my thing is that I tend to pull towards me, and then it's like, oh, I'm over here painting, and there's nothing going on. So yeah, I need to get back into focus. Focus. It's one of those commands that I might want to look at doing is some kind of sound thing for focus. Where's my chat window? Oh, anyway. My camera's focused right on the edge of my desk. That helped. Redheads are interesting. There's a lot of variety. There is a lot of variety with redheads. Focused right on the edge of my desk. That helped. And I probably need to adjust that a little bit because this is kind of out far. I mean, let me see if I can demonstrate here momentarily. Grab my ruler. So right now, my ruler is at the edge of my desk. So this is, what, 10, 9, yeah, so at about 9 inches is where it starts. So yeah, I'm pushed in quite a ways. So I might want to see about adjusting my camera out a little bit. That would certainly help. That's a good call. I'll have to look into doing that. Oh, and then tomorrow is a holiday for me. So I get the day off. So I might be streaming tomorrow. I don't know yet. If nothing else, it will be helpful to see about fixing some of the... Do you have to slam the doors? Really? Working out some of the technical issues and everything like that. And seeing if I can get those fixed and adjusted. So I might be on tomorrow. I don't know yet. I might just jump on it like 4:30 in the morning and stream then and see what happens. You never know. Some people. I mean, granted, it's the middle of the day here. Like, literally the middle of the day. It's 12 o'clock now. But still, you don't need to slam the doors like that. Jeez Louise. I'm out most of tomorrow. Out working or out not working? Got a quote to do and visiting friends. Very cool. Very cool. So your handyman thing, is it just like general repair, or is there a specialty that you have? Because I know some different people who are here in the U.S. contractors. Some of them are carpenters. Some of them are masons. Some of them are welders. You know, they have a specialty that they do. And then I've known some that are just kind of general contractors. And they do just general repair work and things like that. Jeez Louise. It's like that old joke where the dad and son are arguing. And dad says, "Go to your room." And the son says, "Jim Morrison was overrated." And dad says, "What did I tell you about slamming the doors in this house?" Don't really have a special idea of the stuff that builders, carpenters don't do because it's too small. Oh, cool, cool. Yeah, that's the thing with some contractors is that they tend to only take on like the big jobs, the big remodels and things like that. So tomorrow I'm looking at fence repair. Tuesday it's putting up shelves. Oh, cool. That is one thing that I have learned to do for myself over the years is, build, shelves and storage units and things like that. Because for one, I can modify it to the way that I want it to be instead of relying on some prefab thing that's specifically this dimension or this setting or whatever. I can customize it. Like all of my shelving here on my workspace and everything, I've built all of this. That way it suits exactly how I want it to be. I really wish I had space for a workshop, but that is just not in the cards right now. Hopefully, I am looking at moving. My daughters, I have a biological daughter and a kind of sort of adopted daughter. She calls me dad, I call her daughter. She's my daughter's best friend. But they both live in a town about an hour away. Maybe I've talked about this before. But with them both having kids now, I would like to be closer to them to help out and see the grandkids, spend time with them and everything. So I might be moving within the next year if I can find a house. I do not want to move into another apartment. I have no desire to live in another apartment. I would like to have a house that's my own space where I can set things up the way that I want them. Places that I can convert a room into a workshop or a work room. Even better if it's a garage or something like that I can just set up like table saw, things like that. Things I don't have now that would be a lot more efficient in working with some of the things that I want to do, things that I want to build. I have this crazy dream of building my own R2-D2 unit someday. I am a member of the R2-D2 Builders Club. I just haven't actually built one yet. I don't have the space, and I can't put in the tools that I need. Not that I'm going to make it out of metal or anything. You can build them out of wood. But you do need space for that, and I don't have a whole lot of spare space here. Okay, there we go. That's looking pretty good, I think. Need my brush here. Okay, I need you. I need you. And so I'm going to kind of start on the eyes. So I'm going to use, where are you? Yeah, let's try this. So I'm going to paint the base of the eye mahogany brown so that around the edges it will appear more of a brownish red color instead of black. I know that black is the typical color, but I like to use like a mahogany brown, a dark brown, or a reddish brown for that. There we go. I might even use that as the base for the red for the hair. Have to wait and see. I'll have to wait and see. Because again, I don't really have a plan for painting this one up. I'm just making it up as I go along. Alright, let's see here. And yes, I am painting the whole eye this color. And then we'll come back over it with like a linen white, kind of an off-white color. That's what I tend to do, get some interesting results. Yeah. They can be interesting. Yeah, I think that's good. It's turning out nice there. I really should be wearing my visor for this kind of detail work, but didn't grab it. Not that it's that far away from me, it's like literally within arm's reach, but oh well, I'm in the flow. I'm in the zone. There we go. This will autofocus, maybe. Focus. Oh, you silly camera. Where's this stream? Oh, never mind. Well, hopefully you can get the idea from there. Anyway, moving on. So I've got her eyes in. Let's go redhead. Let's do this. I don't know if I want that. I don't want that brighter red. That's fire engine red, like literally fire engine red. Here we go. Let's start with it. I hate autofocus in theory. Great idea in practice. Never seems to be what you want. Exactly. It's like it's right here. Focus. Focus. Why you no focus? Irritating. So yeah, chestnut brown for the base. Just to kind of get us started. Okay. Yeah, I think that'll work. That'll be okay. I don't know if I will keep. I don't want to say not keep painting this one on stream because, like I said, I do have some other projects that I absolutely have to get done. Some of them are related to the D&D Spelljammer campaign I'm running. I've printed off some miniatures for that. I put my figure cam on macro focus, and as it's a phone, I only have to tap the screen and I have to change focus. Yeah, see, I'm not using my phone. I'm using actual cameras, webcam cameras, because I already had them. I bought them for some other things. One of them I bought for my daughter, Anna Jane, for her stream, and then she decided she didn't particularly like it. Don't blame her if it's that difficult to work with. So I got it back from her. Is that a braid of her hair? Comes around here. It does. It looks like it's a braid of her hair. It comes around, goes back down to here. Doesn't. Oh no, maybe it goes right there. Okay, wow, that is incredibly intricate detail there. So yeah, I was talking about something. I got distracted. Oh, I get distracted so easily sometimes. That's some figures that I have to work on for the D&D Spelljammer campaign I'm running. We took a break from it for a while. Like I said, our other DM, who's a player in the Spelljammer campaign, talked to him about stepping in and running DM for a while because I needed a break. So he was running us through a campaign. We reached a stopping point Friday. And so I need to pick up on Spelljammer, which I have most of it laid out, but I need figures for some encounters that I painted off, I need to print. And then I need to finish off the encounters. Because they're gonna have a few. They're gonna run into some stuff that maybe they're not quite ready for. I try not to kill my characters. My players' characters. I'm not that kind of DM. I know there are some that actively try to kill the entire party when they're playing. I am not one of those. And yes, I'll be honest, I have fudged rolls in the player's favor. Not a lot, but occasionally, when it's looking pretty grim, I might, oh, he hit you, but it wasn't actually a crit, even though it was totally a crit. I know that there are some DMs out there that are like, nope, the dice rolled, that's what happened. If their character dies, they can always make another one. And that is true. And I've had plenty of characters die. I had one, he got eaten by a pudding, I think, like black pudding or something like that. Whatever it was, it dissolved him. He couldn't be resurrected. I don't think it was a gelatinous cube, though. I'm pretty sure it was some kind of blob or pudding or something. Anyway. So yeah, I've had plenty of characters die. It's never fun, but I like making characters. It's a fun thing to do where you can test different builds. I mean, I had a halfling barbarian. In our party, we have a gnome barbarian. A gnome barbarian. I mean, come on. But they're having fun playing it, and they're playing it to the hilt, so yeah, go for it. I've played a tiefling cannoneer in one campaign. It was basically, they were pirates, not pirates, but out on the ocean and things like that. And yeah, he carried a miniature cannon, and actually progressing up the levels, he got to the point that he could shoot multiple targets. He could bend the bullet like they do in Wanted, so he could like shoot around corners with it. It was a neat character. He died. If I remember correctly, I think he's the one that got eaten by the pudding. In D&D, pudding eats you. So yeah, I gotta get those. They're printed. I just haven't pulled them off the supports yet. In fact, give me a quick preview. Here they all are. There's all of the characters, creatures that that's the base for one of them that they'll be encountering here. I work on the premise that the adventure could kill the party, but near misses are more fun. Once every 2 or 3 months, a character will probably die just to show them that they are not invulnerable. But yeah, I generally fudge roll slightly in their favor. Exactly. And sometimes, character needs to be killed off. I mean, that's the thing, is they get into this mentality of, oh, my character just can't die. Yeah, they can. Yes, I will, allow you to find a cleric sometimes. they can resurrect you, but yeah, they're not invulnerable. They go down, especially like Friday night. We went up. They look cool. Thank you. Um, and those I will probably work on stream as well, even though my players may or may not be watching. I doubt they are. I could probably sit here and tell you exactly what was going to happen, and they'd never know because they don't watch the stream. But yeah, I would probably work on those on the stream because they are really cool miniatures. But yeah, they need to learn that they can't just write it about. Like Freddie and I was talking about. For some odd reason, I was in the back of the party because I'm a half-orc cleric. So I tend to stay in the back and heal from a distance and buff and things like that. And ran into a room with a bunch of berserkers and a half-dragon, and they decided, yeah, let's charge in and fight them. Are you out of your mind? I mean, come on. We run away from this. And sure enough, we all basically died. I mean, it was only through incredibly lucky rolls that actually was the gnome barbarian that saved us. So, we're making fun of the gnome barbarian. But if they hadn't gotten incredibly lucky on their rolls, yeah, we would have died. Or at least sort of died. Apparently the whole plan was to capture us alive, to knock us unconscious, and then deal non-lethal damage and keep us alive, to bring us in for questioning. But we managed to escape. Plus, we were down a player too, so I think that may have played a part into it. Our paladin was out last week, and that player is definitely one who min-maxes his characters, which is fine. If people want to min-max, then go right ahead. Not saying you can't. I personally don't. I mean, I used to, and that's just when I was younger and first playing. I thought I had to win at D&D. Then I realized, no, it's more fun to play the character. My character right now, like I said, a half-orc cleric, has a charisma of 7. That's what I rolled. It's like, okay, yeah, that's not good. He's definitely not going to be talking to anybody for anything. He's just going to stand in the back, look somewhat intimidating, and help the party as much as he can. Is that in focus at all? Anyway, back to the flesh tones. As DM, I will generally reward better roleplay than min-max characters. As you said, some players like to min-max, but I make sure that doesn't give them the player an advantage. Yeah. Like one of our players, he's playing an owlin, which is basically a giant owl. And yeah, he talks in character, which is kind of this high-pitched, hello, hoo, kind of thing. And it's fantastic. I mean, I love seeing that role play element. Like I said, my character with the terrible, terrible charisma who doesn't really like to speak because he's just not very good at communicating things. Doesn't talk a whole lot. Especially when we're like meeting people. It's like, nope, not going to talk to them. Just going to stand here in the back. See, I like players that role play. ROLE instead of roll, ROLL play. It's like the Spelljammer campaign I'm running. They encountered a puzzle asteroid, basically, and almost no combat in it. And they had to just think their way through. They had to figure things out. And they did. They did a really good job of it. Yeah, it wasn't all hack and slash. It's like, okay, here's this room that you have to figure out how to get through with little to no information about it. And they did well. They did very well. So yeah, we've got a pretty good group. We have 6 players, which is a lot. But that's okay. Oh, excuse me. Oh, sorry. Not sure where that came from. I don't know how sensitive my mic is, but I burped a little bit. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to adjust my camera angle because I find that I am hunching over a little too much. And that is not good. I will say as an aside, because it's just something that kind of occurred to me, in the event that you are seeing ads on this channel, that is not me. I am not even close to being at that point. So, no problem. Wouldn't have known if you didn't see me. Okay, good. Because I don't know how sensitive my microphone is. But yeah, if you're seeing ads, that's not me yet. And may not be me ever. Like I said, I'm not looking to be a professional, quote-unquote, streamer. I know plenty who are. Plenty who are, well, I know because I subscribe to their channel. Like Eldon Tux and Crafty Face. I know I've subbed to their channels. I've been given gift subs to others that I just happened to be in at the time, and I think it was just a random selection thing, which is cool. But I am not affiliate status, even close. Yeah, I think I've got, no, you aren't there. There aren't any ads. I think you'll get when you get affiliate. Right, like I said, I'm long ways away from that. I think I'm up to 12 followers, which is cool. Speaking of following, I should see if this works or not. Finish this coat on the skin, and I'm going to try and see if my social shout out thing works, my social command. $12:30. Wow, it's here for an hour and a half. Doesn't feel like it. That's always a good sign. When you can stream like that, it doesn't really feel like that much time has passed. before next stream, I am going to come up with a better idea of what I want my tower thing to look like over on the project bench. So I'll be able to progress a bit more with it. So I might end up streaming tomorrow. I don't know. I do want to work on that. Like I said, I'm hesitant to work on things off stream because I don't want you to like come back and it's like, oh wow, like this one here, next stream, oh wow, it's like almost done. Means you're having fun. I am having fun. I really enjoy this. I love working on hobby stuff. Like I said, I don't want it to be a stream only thing. That's kind of my sticking point with it. But I will work on other hobby things. My phone is vibrating. I did turn off the volume so it doesn't sit here and ding, 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 ding. My daughter and her mother will get in. I find it's working on hobbies while I was talking with friends. Exactly. But my daughter and her mom, my ex-wife, we get along. It's all cool. But they'll get to talking. We're in a group chat, and those two will start talking, have a conversation that I'm not involved in. So my phone sits here and goes ding, 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 ding. It's like, would you two please take this private? Go, you have your own chat. Go there. Leave me alone. I'm grabbing a drink of tea here really quick. Yeah, good. Gonna check my phone. Oh, never mind. It's not anything important. There we go. And yeah, just doing a quick stretch here. No, yeah, I wanted to check and see if my social thing works here. I doubt it. I probably don't have any of this set up right. Nope. Figures. Try to do a thing. So I am just going to go out here really quick. If this will load up. Yeah, I'll definitely work on some of the back end stuff. Try to get it to work. Yeah, we got stream ads as a bot from every you turn it on. I don't. So maybe you're wrong. And I'll have to check that. Yeah. There's my Hinton's Hobbies Facebook page. Go over there and give that a follow. That would be cool. I'd appreciate that. Not saying you have to. Don't feel obligated, but just throwing it out there. It's the only social media that I have. I don't have Instagram or Twitter or anything like that. It's not really something I've got into. Although I've had friends mention that Instagram can be very helpful, but again, I'm not trying to grow a business. So if they want to use it to grow a business, great. More power to them. I usually follow them on Facebook because they don't have Instagram, so I can't follow them there. And I have no desire to join Instagram or Snapchat or Twitter or any of that. it's up to you. Maybe I'll do some troubleshooting off stream. Maybe while Tux is on his stream, I'll be working on my bot and see if I can figure out what's going on there. What are you planning on working on today, Tux, on your stream? You still doing those 3D prints, or did you get those wrapped up? But yeah, yesterday while you were streaming, my daughter, her boyfriend, and showed up with my grandson, and so I was kind of distracted hanging out with them. Because as much as I like you, Tux, my grandson's a little bit more important. So I am going to be spending time with him. Not today, I'm talking about yesterday. So I should be on your stream all day today, paying attention. Yeah, I'll try to get those prints finished today, practicing blends on the skirt. Cool. Yeah, blending is one thing that I really struggle. I mean, I've been painting for 20 plus years now, and I do not understand wet blending. I don't get it. I try it, and it just never works. I don't know if I'm not doing it right, or I don't understand the basic principle, but yeah, wet blending, not my strong suit. Not even a suit at all. It's just, no worries, real life is much more important. Yes, very much so. But I do okay with, like layering. I'm really good, I don't want to say I'm really good at it, but I do much better with layering than I do with wet blending. Glazing and things like that. It seems to work a little bit better for me. I think it's just because when I started out, that's one of the first things I learned. Because one of the first, I think it was like the third miniature that I ever painted, nor mine, but as I'm doing larger prints for people, I thought I'd try to get it better. Oh, yeah. You do fantastic work. Don't ever sell yourself short. You do amazing work. But it's like the third or fourth miniature I ever painted. I tried OSL. That was ambitious, but it taught me layering and glazing to get the right look for the light source. And so I think that's just why I do better with it, because that's what I practice so much on. Whereas wet blending, I tried it a few times and it wasn't. Basically, I was just mixing mud, is what I was doing. And it would stop blending and just all become one uniform color. It's like, no, that's not right. It's like when I was practicing layering and glazing, what I did was I took, I think it was like a cape or something, long flowing with curves. OSL is interesting, only done it twice, but was satisfied with the results. Cool. Yeah, it was like a cape or a cloak or something. And I painted it blue. And then I started layering and glazing with red because I wanted to turn it purple. But I wanted it so that the highlights were bluer and the darkers were, the recesses, the shadows were like more a darker purple. So that's how I knew how thin to make my layers and everything, is to how purple the cloak turned. So I think that's why I grasped the concept better, is that I could understand. I could work with that and I could see the results. I could see it actually happening. And it's like, okay, this makes sense to me. This I understand. But that's just how it goes. Alright, so let's do... Skin's coming out quite nicely, so I'm going to do some tan shadow. Even going to be... Probably not. Shaking it up here. It's been sitting a little while, so I need to really shake it. I'm going to do a 50-50 split. I'm going to try to not blend, but a little bit of layering that we were just talking about to produce the shadows into the recesses a little bit. So 50-50 tan shadow and tanned skin. There we go. And thin. That sounds brilliant. Unfortunately, purples tend to look blue to me. Yeah, it probably helps if you're not colorblind. Which I have a couple of friends who are colorblind as well. Other than you, I mean, a couple guys I know here in real life. And yeah, like one of them, he is truly colorblind. Everything is like shades of gray to him. He cannot see any color at all. It's like, dude, how do you function? And he's just learned to adapt to, you know, like street lights and things like that. That, you know, they're different shades of gray. And so he just knows, and it also helps that, you know, the lights are in a certain order on the stoplight, so that he can kind of tell whether it's red or green or yellow. But yeah, that cannot be fun at all. You know, and the other friend of mine, like when we play board games and stuff like that, he's always yellow. He always plays like the yellow. That's unusual. It is. It's incredibly rare to be truly colorblind. But yeah, like he'll always play yellow because he can actually see that color. He has trouble with oranges, greens, reds and blues, things like that. So, and they tend to all like look brownish to him, I guess, like a reddish brown kind of color. So, yeah. I got a spot on here I need to remove really quick. There we go. Little printing artifact that you get sometimes. He's gone now. Trying to layer this so that it will get darker as it goes down into the shadows. That is splitting on me. I need to get new brushes. Unfortunately, my Rosemary and Company Klinsky Sable brushes cannot be shipped to the U.S. anymore. Apparently the U.S. decided to ban shipment of Klinsky Sable brushes for some odd reason. At least that's what it says on Rosemary and Company's website. And I love their Klinsky Sable brushes. They are so, so good. You can get the pure sable, but not the Klinsky Sable. Winsor & Newton does make a purples tend to look blue, oranges and greens, or greens and brown are my main problem. Yeah. You have my sympathies, truly you do. My color range is very high. I can do like the colorblind test, and I can differentiate between all the blues. It's very easy for me. But anyway, as I was saying, Winsor & Newton makes really good Klinsky sable brushes, but they are so expensive. I have trouble justifying the expense. I know it's an investment. I know it's a good brush. I have some Winsor & Newtons. They're quite old, so they've seen much better days. But I might have to invest in some more, since I can't get the Rosemary & Co. brushes. Okay, just blocking in a little bit of shadow here. So I'm not trying to get too deep on the shadows just yet, just enough to give it some definition. Some on the neck here. Down the clavicle area. There we go. We're up to 12:45, so we've got about 15 minutes or so left. We will be rating Eldon Tux's channel. He'll probably be disappearing on us here in a moment to get his set up and started. He hasn't already. And he will also be painting miniatures. So we'll definitely pop in there. Like I said, I don't know, right, I need to get ready for my own stream. I think you may have a dino out there somewhere. See you in a soon. Yep, we'll see you in just a few minutes here. Although if Dino is here, he's probably going to disappear to go to your stream so he can do all those RPG jobs, so he can start getting his lead over Crafty. I just sit there and chuckle at that. I might do a few trivia questions today, but I am not looking to close the 2,000 acorn gap that he has over me. But yeah, I have viewers turned off, so I don't know who all is here. I don't even know how many people are here. I could be talking to nobody right now. Wouldn't that be cool? Well, I guess I'm talking to myself, so there's at least one viewer, or at least one listener. Although I do tend to drip in and out sometimes myself. It's like, was I saying something? I don't remember. I do prattle on quite a bit sometimes. It just becomes background noise to myself. Anyway. So yeah, about 10 minutes left. I'm going to do really quick before I go. I'm going to hit the eyes really quick. So I'm going to use linen white for the white of the eyes. This is kind of an off-white. I know some people prefer different shades of white. I don't know too many people that use pure white for the eyes anymore. There was a time, certainly. And if you do, great. If that's what you're happy with, if that's what you like, go for it. Excuse me. Somebody once said that miniature painting is trying to make a three-dimensional object look three-dimensional. Because it's so small, you have to over-exaggerate certain aspects of it. Like the highlights and the shading and things like that, because you're trying to get that to pop out. To get the whole image to pop out instead of You know, in real life you can hold it and look at it up close and you can see things, but from a distance you really want to be able to make out those details. So you tend to over-exaggerate them a little bit sometimes. Okay. Give this a try here. A little bit of paint on. And yes, I'm one of those weird miniature painters that paints the back of my hand. Actually, I am going to grab my visor. 1 second. Okay, I've got that on. I can see a little bit better. Okay, because I don't want to cover up all of the chestnut brown of the eye. Do I use chestnut brown or do I use mahogany brown? Sorry, mahogany brown. Very little paint on the brush, because I don't want it to explode as soon as I touch the eye. And I am going super quiet, because I'm trying to be super still when I'm doing this. Hey, at least I stayed in camera on that one. Okay. Let's see if we can do the same on this side. Good luck. Yes, I am resting the brush on my thumb as a guide. Ah! See? I wasn't paying attention. And I hit it too hard. That's what I get. Okay. Actually, that's not too bad. I thought that was going to be a lot worse, but I think I managed to get it cleaned up fast enough. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay. Yes. I think that worked just fine. If you can see that. I don't know if that's... It looks in focus on my screen, but I could be wrong. Could be very, very wrong. Could be wrong with so many things. Sorry, I'm just checking something on the settings here really quick. I want to see if I can get this. There we go. That's better. I forgot I can do a scene projector on it. Okay, that's cool. That's good. I am happy with that. Put it there. And then I will work on that next stream. We've got about 5 minutes left here, so I'm going to swap back and close up the palette here really quick. And swap back to the big bench. start here. Swing the light around. Get a little bit more light. Oops. Why are you falling? My light is falling down. There we go. Oh, I see why. I'll have to work on that too. Anyway. I didn't glue anything too good. That's always a concern. These. So, so that's going to be 4 inches wide, 5 inches deep. And my doorway is going to sit here. So I need a couple of these little guys here. Yep, just like that. Don't know if you can see that very well, but yeah, I think that's going to work just fine. Yeah. So then this will go here, like that, and then the block will sit like that. Yes. Perfect. Well, not perfect, but not bad. Ooh, I need... Do I have one? I need a 3-inch block. 3-inch block. There we go. They're actually pre-made, pre-cast 3-inch blocks. They get cast like that. I don't have to glue them together. Why wasn't I using for those? Because I don't have a whole lot of 3 inches. Why are you asking so many questions? Oh, I see what I did. Oh, yep. I see what I did. That's fine. I can fix it. So I have some work to do. These are lining up this way, but not... Well, if I do this... That's still not going to work right. This is the problem with doing things on the fly. You figure these things out as you go. Yeah. So like this is fine. But this should be... The glue hasn't cured, so I can do that. It's easy for me to break it off. I don't know if you saw that. So this half-inch, since the glue hasn't cured, it's still malleable. I need to put a 1-inch block at the end of these. So that way they line up like that. That's what I need. So I will probably do that off camera. So I'm doing a little bit of work off camera, but not a lot. Just fixing my boo-boo there. Anyway, yes, we are wrapping up here. Going to get ready to raid Eldon. So I'm going to bring